got it? How are you? This is a new, I think the light just came on. Very, very interesting. So, we're gonna do, I hope you guys can see. Is this even? Can you guys see me? Well, is it actually rectangular? Because it's saying rotate device. So, you know, if you can. I'm sideways, okay. Don't want to be sideways. But I do want to stream in this. Here we go. Yay. How was that, guys? Is that better? How was that? Okay. The goal really was to stream this way, but that did not work out too well. How you doing, guys? I am Sri Master Gano for Galighticus, and as you can see, I have some notes and some of your questions that you guys asked on Facebook, and want to get to some of those questions. Hi, chain of command. I see you guys are with me. That's fantastic, right? So what was happening was I had printed out the questions so that I can take them with me, and I also had some notes about some other things that I wanted to talk about, and I thought that I lost it, but I didn't. So we should probably get into it because the sun is just about setting, and I'm going to show you guys what the camera is mounted on. It's quite poignant because I think it's somewhat of a... Oh, here it is right here. What does it say? It's something from World War II, 1942. Arsenal. It's a rocket launcher. Whoa. How poignant. How poignant is that? Okay, guys. So, the first question that I want to get to, it comes from Julian Faulkner. And Julian Faulkner asks, if you got the paradosis last year from the Empowerment Day, like I'm assuming you're talking about the Golden Chariot seminar that was in Miami, would it be necessary or beneficial to get them again? Thanks in advance. So Julian, if you came to the Golden Chariot seminar last year, yes, you can have all of the empowerment over again. On Friday, we're going to be offering an empowerment day. It's not mandatory. It is, it's not obligatory, but it is, you know, if you feel that you would like to have the empowerments. What happens is that with the empowerment day on Friday, it's going to give more of an energetic boost to your foundation. The human body doesn't have enough raw power on its own to really create the template in which or from which you can generate the formation of the Golden Chariot. It takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of energy that most human consciousness does not know how to use, and that's the reason why we offer the empowerment day, so that we can spend it's not an entire day, but it's going to be a section of the day for everyone to sign up, and we can give a certain arrangement of energies, and it's going to be about 10 different energies that you can take in, and the students will be providing that under my direction. It's the same thing that we did last year, okay? So for anyone who's interested, now the seminar by itself, we did over 12 hours. I don't want to do that this time. So I took the liberty of breaking up the seminar half and half. On Saturday, we'll start at 9 o'clock, and on Sunday, we'll have the other half of the actual seminar. And that's how it's going to land, okay? So the second question comes from Levanta Allen. on Facebook, and Levanta asks, do our divine parents pass down some of their characteristics or some of their characteristics to their children? They absolutely do. The divinities, as some may wish to call it, you are an amalgamation of some of the characteristics, some of the traits of your divine parents. And what's interesting about this dynamic is that sometimes they pass down their bad genes to you as well. A God is capable of passing down, because gods are not perfect, by the way, people. They have their limitations, they have their dislikes, they have the things that, they have disagreements amongst each other. All you have to do is look at some of the mythologies and look for yourself how, when the gods fight, it can destroy entire land masses. It actually, some of the deserts that we have on this planet were created by Indra dropping the bombs on and scorching the land. There are many different places on our planet where the gods have had, which brings me to my next point, the gods actually lived on this planet and walked amongst their children. They pretty much all together have left, just like the troglodyte or the some of the Neanderthalensis or the Neanderthal. They are gone. They're not here anymore. There is not even a missing link that shows of their existence. So sometimes the gods, as certain beings that are born gods, see, we're born earthlings, but the gods that are born that way, they have a set of things that make them very, very interesting. And sometimes this is where humans get some of their baggage from. That's a whole nother topic. So you want to engender and you want to encapsulate the very best of what the gods have to offer. You want to take on the higher qualities, and you want to subsequently minimize and attenuate the negativity that comes from some of the gods. And when you look at war, you look at jealousy, being envious, all of those things are deficits that come from a higher aperture of creation, which are the gods that created this particular form of the human body, not necessarily the Homo sapiens sapien, but the human body. Okay, so I hope that answers your question. And also, what you might also be wondering is, how do I enrich those aspects of the qualities of the gods as opposed to the deficits? Well, you have to lean more towards doing the right thing all the time, speaking truth all the time, not doing anything that is going to be or align you with the negative wolf that's inside of you. There is a belief amongst a lot of people, and I also co-sign that everyone has demons, so to speak. What I mean when I say that is that it is an advanced study that everyone comes into this life with a certain set of spiritual power as well as spiritual deficit. And those demons don't go anywhere. They lay dormant inside of you until a situation arises and eventually you snap. And the power of the glyphoth is what you draw from that brings that out of you and awakens the dragon. And this is why people, a lot of times, they call it blacking out and they end up going to jail or pulling the trigger on someone, and they don't always remember what it is that they have done to get them in that particular quagmire or that situation. Something happened in their life and they were not disciplined enough to subside and keep the demons dormant. And that's something that takes great strength. It's very easy to walk up and punch someone in the face who you don't like or disagree with, but it takes more strength to sustain peace, harmony, and balance, and not act out the raw energy of some of the negativity that all of us are born with. And that's how that goes. All right. So I hope that that answers your question. The another question from the same person, Levanta Allen. She asks from Facebook, the power of meditation versus the power of prayer. That's pretty simple, Levanta. And believe that asking about the difference between the benefit of the two, right? So when you pray, prayer is a focused output of a desire, wish, or need that you eject from hopefully your heart space. When you meditate, that is another also focused arrangement of thought in which you sit quietly. Now, there are many different types of meditation, but when one meditates, it does call for you to engage other qualities inside of your consciousness and make it singular and enact those things. Meditation is something that requires discipline because you have to shut everything off and you have to focus on nothing, the nothingness of nothing. When you do this over a period of time, it links you to something that is a higher arpeggio of consciousness that we all have access to. If you look at a lot of musicians, you look at somebody like Maurice White from my favorite group, Earth, Wind, and Fire. He spoke about meditation. He spoke about the benefit of how he was able to connect with higher realities and hear music that did not exist in this world. And by virtue of his meditation, he was able to bring some of that musicality into the arrangement of his ability, synthesize it through Earth, Wind, and Fire, which was his group, and offer it to the world. The proof of that is when you listen to certain Earth, Wind, and Fire music, especially from 1973 to 1983, that music is timeless. It embodies many, many different elements of timelessness and mastery and fusion. And it is quite amazing to listen to. It actually does things for the conscious mind. So this is something that you can tap into when you listen to their music. Right? That's a form of meditation. Maurice White said that he meditated sometimes for 10 minutes a day. And that's all he needed to be rejuvenated and to bring about rest and balance in his body. He'd gotten to that point where all he needed to do was meditate for 10 minutes and he was good. So there's a major benefit to developing the acumen of meditating. Guys, I would love for you to put the thumbs up, hit the like button so that we can drive up the numbers to this particular video. All right, so there's going to be a lot of people who are coming home from work and they're not able to see the video, but I would love for you guys to be able to help them see that so we can place a little bit higher on the algorithms. And they call it crawling, I think. So Levanta, I hope that answers your question. All right, let's see. What do we have here? We have another question from Lovely Michelle. And Lovely Michelle asks, spiritual parents. Oh no, this actually is not a question. Forgive me for that. Wali Muhammad, yes. Wali Muhammad on Facebook asks, when burning ancestor money, does the energy translate to our relatives from other worlds in Orion, Sirius, and the Pleiades? No, it does not. The reason that I say that is because if you are on another planet, ancestor money is an arrangement that comes from the celestial bank account of the wealth gods that rule over the forces of wealth, particularly on this planet. Now, it is true that if you look at Lakshmi, if you look at Lord Ganesha, if you look at the Jade Emperor and his wife, if you look at Mazu, if you look at Kubera, you look at some of the gods of wealth, they do exist on other planets. Their consciousness exists on other planets, but there is a different apparatus in which they choose to lens the stream of that particular wealth there. So people are not burning ancestor money on other planets. It's only here on Earth that we will do that, okay? So I hope that answers your question. Another question comes from one of my beloved students and officers, Officer Jeffrey Raymond, the funky bass player. How you doing, Jeff? Good to see you. So he asks, beloved Father, should we, may we, add a Galacticon circle to the program after the Kundalini initiation on Saturday? Many field trip for the class outside instead of the hotel stay. Thanksgiving for the Golden Chariot and an appreciation gesture to the gods and the hierarchies for all that they are allowing us to take advantage of. Seems like a good timing since it's already a class, like icing on the cake. Well, here's the thing, Jeff. We're not going to be doing a Kundalini activation on this particular leg of the Golden Chariot. It'll be the first time in a few years where we do not have a Kundalini activation. So we're going to be having an empowerment day. And the second part of your question, okay, so what? We still want to do a Galighticus. Well, I don't know if we will have the time or the energy to exert, because after empowering people all day on Friday, I don't know, there's a lot of energy and a lot of planning that has to go into something like a Galacticon. Just to give you an example, to have a real Galacticon, I spent a few $1,000s to have a free event in Commodore Battery Park. I had to buy a generator. I had to buy a lot of other things that we needed to utilize and have a permit. You can't just show up at a park and, you know, do something of this magnitude. Now, if you're going to do like a really small guerrilla style one, you know, what we do when we get together is equivalent to a Galacticon anyway. It's actually more purposeful. So we don't really need to do that, Jeffrey, on this particular arrangement, because when we do a seminar, it is many times more powerful doing a Galacticon, because there are other people that are involved in the imperative of empowering, enriching, causing evolution and others. Okay, but that is a very, very noble thing, Jeff, and I will make sure that I assign you on Friday to help with some of the paradosis. Okay, it's a great question, sir. Okay, let's see what else we have here. It's a question that comes from, and I see that a few people actually co-signed on this. It's a question that comes from Lucy Palin. How you doing, Lulu? And LJ, how's it going? Lulu asks, I understand how I'd like to understand how a person is crowned in Orisha as a Babalaro and able to work with both light and dark. This is very disturbing to me, and I get very upset. How is it that Orisha allows the individual to conduct killings, rituals, readings, and much more? Not all crowned people work the dark side. It is clear that I am not seeing the whole picture. I have prayed and asked for the answers, but I am just not getting it. Thank you. And a couple of other people weighed in on that. So here's the thing. I'm going to take this over here because I want to sit down on a bench. Take a walk with me. Okay. And I think I'm going to show you guys the view. You guys see that? See? It's beautiful. So, it's a beautiful thing. I'm going to sit down right here in the park. Is that clear, everybody? Okay. You know, it's a really, really tricky topic. And what I would say to that, I'm going to give my own personal experience, right? When I did the play years ago, and Shango created a reality for me to play him in a play. And like I've said before, I was the only one in that entire play that was not initiated into Ifa. That automatically caused a prejudice. Why does this man have a lead in our play and he's not even a priest? They didn't understand that. It created a very strange dynamic. I also saw something that I didn't care for from the actual, not going to say any names, but I saw certain major egoic bandwidths with the person that created that play that I thought was pretty much out of line. And I have to say that that really turned me off from Ifa. And what I said was that this is what Ifa is all about. I don't want any parts of it. I made that very clear to the gods of Ifa that we lovingly refer to as the Orisha. And unfortunately, what I saw, and this is what Shango Obatala, Ochun Yemeya Olokun Osayin Oshumari, Olofi Olodumari, and Aganyu wanted me to know firsthand. Okay? Wanted me to know that the Iwa Pele of an individual must be the first order of the day if you are to be taken seriously. And what I saw was the opposite of good character. And had I not been part of that play and given my all to it, I never would have known that there are people that are indiscriminate in that like to hide in religion, power systems, and especially the church. So this is going to bring me to my next announcement. Well, I'm going to hide that for a second. But what I will say is that when you're interfacing with light energy or dark energy, the higher you go, it begins to not have the polarity of light and dark because it becomes one force. But you really have to be dealing with something that is what I like to call eternal. It is only here on earth that we have polarity, duality, and division. So when someone is dealing with Palo Mayombe, there sometimes, there are Ifa priests that are told clearly you cannot be scratched. You can't deal with anything but Ifa. And then there are other people who deal with both systems. It is something that comes out in a reading and something that your guidance, sorry about that. It is something that you will be divinely told or instructed to do. One of the things that I would say also, in Galighticus, we have people who practice everything from voodoo to Ifa, different forms of Ifa, Yoruba, Lukumi, and Santeria, as well as the Akan. Everything that you can imagine. We have people and practitioners here in Galighticus that are very decorated in those forms. So one of the things that I have seen, we are going to have our own Ile. Our own Ile, and that is something that will really, really be powerful for people who are called towards walking the path of Ifa. They will get the benefit of the highest grade of character in Iwa Pele that there is. So when we announce our own Ile, it will be run by Ifa priests and chiefs who are very, very powerful in what they do. And that's something that'll be coming within the next few months. So I hope that that answers some of the questions that people have or some of the concerns that people have. Now, with that being said, there's a lot of people getting off work now and coming to the park. It's beautiful. I'm going to show you the moon really quick. Look at that. It's a beautiful thing, isn't it? Okay. So let's see, how long have we been on? We've been on for about 24 minutes. This is going to bring me to my next topic of discussion. There has been a couple of different things that have been going on, and one of the things that I want to talk about is Galighticus has been in existence for 6 years, and I've been preparing for Galighticus before those 6 years for 25 years, if that makes sense. And in preparation to have the covenant of Galighticus as a movement on this planet, I had to undergo a lot of trial and tribulation, a lot of training, a lot of mastery in terms of certain things in order to discover the full power of what the benefit is that we could bring to this planet, right? So this is something that I've been seeing for a while, and it's an interesting dynamic, and I would not speak about it publicly had it not been for a few things. And we're going to get off into this. Guys, I want you to hit the like button. What I've been seeing is that Galighticus has had over publicly 52 public presentations, from workshops to mostly seminars and some free events as well. We've been in 4 countries, over 7 states, and we've been very, very busy growing, and we've been helping a lot of people. We've been empowering lots of people, and we offer, okay, we're back, guys. We have offered several different programs for people that feel or fit into the arrangement of what it is that we are offering. So what I've seen is that we have people that have come to the Galighticus seminars, and they've been so inspired, and they've been so inspired that immaturely gone and tried to mimic or imitate what Galighticus does. And, I look and I see that, and a lot of times, it doesn't have the energy and the impact that it needs to have, because, it is important. And like I said before, I'm pretty transparent, and I have shared very openly that I had no intention on being a spiritual teacher. It's not something that I sought to do. It's not something that was even in my consciousness, but I loved it so much, and I was asked to teach the things that I know and give people a window into some of the things that I have experienced, and teaching from an experiential place. So when these people come to my seminars, they sit there, they take their notes, and then they open up shop. And they call themselves spiritual advisors. All of a sudden, they're a shaman, or they're a witch, or they are, they take on these interesting names. And, for some of you guys that have been around long enough, I don't have to mention any names, but I'm going to go you one better. I'm going to give you guys a very detailed account of some of how this looks and how preposterous it is. And then privately, I'm going to distribute the names of those people. And I'm going to put an explanation of why everyone in Galighticus needs to disconnect from these people and block these people. I've already submitted some of those names. We're not going to mention them here. But my students know. Chain of Command knows. The Dream Team officers and other trusted Galighticans that I know are truly with us, they already know who and who to block and who not to deal with. So let's get a little bit into it. I've helped a lot of people, and I've given people as much advice freely of how to do certain things. And I need to draw a clear distinction between Galighticus and some of the messy connections that are caused by people who are not even students, that begin to give out wrong advice, that begin to harass and harangue other people, inbox people, and do things that are not of good character. That's a problem because they're associated with Galighticus. Automatically, people think, oh, these Galighticans are getting on my nerves, and that's not the case. So, what I want to do now is just give an example of what some of this looks like. There was one individual, I'm going to take you back. There was a young man who lived in Ohio, called me up, and this was years ago, calls me up, and this was before I started doing public consultations. Calls me up, and he's basically picking my brain. Well, what about this? What about that? Well, how do you do this? And he was part of another organization I used to belong to, and I came across him after hours of conversation, only to find out that all of the information that he got from me, he turned around and developed a website, started selling ancestor money and all of these things, and then he created or imitated something called a program, a studentship program. And I thought that was interesting, and I called him up and I said, had you told me what your plan was, I could have gave you even some better things, but I don't think that you were fully honest about what your intention was for asking me the long list of questions that you asked. It's kind of off code, and I explained how that looked. Wasn't really good character, but that's fine. So this young man didn't understand why he should not have something called the studentship program, because I said, I am the only one that I know that has something called the studentship program. And I don't want people looking at what you're doing and thinking that, again, it's synonymous with what I'm doing. I don't want that confusion. That was the last time I spoke to him. So that was the first time that I started to see that people are using... Guys, hold on one second. I'm going to do something. I need to do this. Okay, here we go. That was one of the first times that I realized that my goodwill and good nature and just wanting to help people sometimes is going to be met with this element called the hustle. The hustle is the need for people to pay bills, have a side hustle, do something that's going to make the ends meet. But if you're doing something, if you're hustling indiscriminately, spirituality, and I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again, and I really don't want to have to address this again. So I'm going to get as much out as I can and really address this one good time. Guys, can we get the likes up? I want to address this in the most impactful, succinct way that I can. All right. Spirituality should never be a hustle, because you will be hustled as a result of the indiscriminate manner in which you are trying to pimp spirituality. And I've seen it. I'm going to speak about another young man that came to one of my seminars. I believe it was Hypernatural Magic. Him and his wife. They came to a seminar, and by the way, we film everything. We have everyone on film, and all of the proof of what I'm saying is inside of the library of who's come to the seminar, the questions that they've asked, and what they didn't know. It's very interesting. We have it all. So the proof is there. It's not something that I'm threatened by, but we film everything as a protection to us, right? And this couple, they come, and I spoke to them a lot. I told them what they can do to get out of the homeless situation that they were in, because they were living in a hotel. No, I'm not going to say their name, but they do have names that are not their governments. They have names that they've made up. They have names that I think they feel are attractive to people who are into the darkness, right? So these people, one of the gentleman reached out to me, and I think I shared this publicly. He reaches out to me and says, "Hey, Sri Master Gano Grills, I want to thank you for everything that you did for me and my wife." And he professed to have darkness and demons all around him. I screenshotted the transmission, and I told him, I said, "Well, how are you open for business guiding other people when you have darkness and demons around you? How are you doing that?" And he gave some very interesting not feedback, but some answers that didn't make any sense. So this is another problem where people, again, they think that all of a sudden, because they come to a seminar and they get the unusual knowledge that Galighticus offers, which is mastery mystery school knowledge, they go to one seminar and they're so inspired that they're going to run off to the races and become, again, a shaman or a witch or someone, and they're dealing with forces that they really don't have mastery over. Which brings me to my next question. What qualifies one to be a master teacher or a spiritual advisor or someone who is in a position to lead people effectively and help people overturn their problems? What qualifies you to do what it is that you're doing? And that's a rhetorical question. This is one of the reasons, Galighticus, why I share openly and transparently all of the testimonies that we have in the words of the people that speak the experiences for themselves. I share the names of the people so that you can inbox them and say, "Hey, Marsha Loretta, you put on Facebook that, you had this occurrence by using the angelic word of power. Could you tell me more about that?" And she can tell you for herself, right, Marsha? Or Mike Twice. Mike Twice has an experience. He shares it lovingly right there on the Facebook group. Or Fabiola Belfort, or Amy L. Burgess, or Nicholas Williams, or take your pick. There are so many people that openly share what it is that they've learned from Galighticus, and they're doing it in the right manner. It doesn't automatically qualify you to begin to teach things that you have not mastered, in the same way that if someone goes to a karate dojo, a karate class, and they get a yellow belt, which is the next belt after the training wheels of the white belt, now all of a sudden you're going to open up a dojo. Doesn't work like that. You have to get a series of black belts, red belts, and be qualified by your sensei to be able to teach, because you have gone through every single one of the ranks. A kindergartner or a nursery school student or someone who is in the first grade is not capable of teaching calculus or collegiate math. The problem with some of these people is that they are infected by the need to survive. And I understand that. I understand that people have to survive. But you can't use spirituality as a hustle, again, because it comes with the repercussions of drawing darkness to you. When you're misleading other people without the proper credulous or foundation or know-how or gnosis or teachings or barometers, and if what you have taken comes from me, and then you're going to start trying to teach it without my blessing or tutelage, it's going to be quite fractal, because that's how I teach. I teach incrementally. So I never give all of the teachings, and there are many reasons for that. And that's how I know that these people are not in a position to lead, because they have not even mastered themselves. If you're being chased by demons and your life is in the shambles and you're living in a hotel, you are not in a position to even try to help other people when the demons are on your heels. What's happening is that these people who are going to some of these people who are prematurely trying to teach, you are connecting darkness to them. Your darkness now has a tentacle and a connection to those people, and you will be held karmically responsible. That's just how it works. Your life will not improve because you have a couple of more dollars in your pocket. That's going to lead you down a darker rabbit hole. And I gave him a very clear warning that you need to cease and desist what you're doing, because what you're doing is not going to have any merit or it's not going to have the blessing of the spiritual world that you think it should have, because what you're doing is not on a sound foundation. Now, this is another individual that I had dialogue with, and this person has 3 different names on Facebook. Had a conversation with this individual the other day, and it's very curious. I said, so where did you get this stuff from? How is it that you are... The person really couldn't answer the questions, and I really wish I would have recorded the conversation, but it wasn't. And this person is claiming to cut cords. This person is claiming to have the ability to activate third eyes. Now, I know for a fact that I am the only one that was doing that, and I explained how it came to this world. And if someone is claiming to cut cords, it's really more of a mechanical white light thing that doesn't have the help of an off-world primordial object that literally is capable of cutting cords. Anyone can energetically say anything. I'm going to surround you with white light. I'm going to cut your cords. It will not have the power that it suggests unless it is ensouled or helped by an object of power. Even the gods have objects of power, okay? So a lot of these people don't even have an object of power, which connects them to the celestial heavens and some of the power that is capable of cutting through the immateriality that causes people limitation and certain other things. That's the first thing, and I educate people very clearly on. I have an entire arsenal of these things that I haven't even shown fully what they are yet, but I've given a very, very clear discourse on why I use them and what they are. So let's get back to this individual. This individual goes through, and we're connected on Facebook. So this person, and it's a she, right? She goes through my friends list and picks off all of these people. Friend request, friend request, friend request. And I look at, some of my people, Starkiel Brown. I look at Fabiola Belfort and Matthew Hezekiah. They're all friends with this woman. But they don't know what this woman is doing. So what's funny is that when I asked this woman told me that, a lot of your people inbox me and they call me and they ask if we're connected. They ask if we they say that we should do things together. And I know that it's a lie, because my people know that I don't share my platform. And the one time that I did share my platform with another individual, right, that caused a big problem in the Vegas star system. And all of you guys know what that was. Please don't mention the name. For those that know, you guys know. I don't need to throw out any or give any highlight to the name of this indiscriminate, another woman, unfortunately. I tried to help this other woman in the Vegas star system, and she caused a great spectacle to herself, and it was hilarious what she attempted to do. And everyone in Galighticus that's been around us, they know who she is. They don't deal with her. And I've never asked anyone to leave her group. I've never asked anyone to block her. I've never did that, because I felt that if someone would consciously stay connected to a woman who I helped and is capable of causing this kind of discord and is literally out of their mind. And the mistake that I made was I told this woman who came to a seminar that she resembled a certain Neteru. That's all I said. I said, hey, you look a lot like this particular Neteru who I will not name. This woman went crazy. She connected that immediately to her EGO and had all kinds of reasons that she created. And she created a group that was mimicked after Galighticus. And instead of the 22 gods, and now there are 11 gods of this particular group, And I looked and I laughed because I said, "You've got to be kidding me." And then she created this modus operandi of doing things. And this woman happened to be a fraud. This woman, if you look her name up, she has a long list of how she has defrauded people out of money, how she has done things to rob people of money that they've donated, and this is something that can be checked. I have a team that's lethal. And when they dug into her dossier and her past, these are the things that they found out about her. And I did a video, and then I took the video down because I didn't want to play unfair. And I just said, look, if people are attracted to that kind of foolishness, then God bless them. They're not Galighticus material, right? And now I have a very different understanding. Let's get back to this other woman who's going down my friend list and friending all of my people. No, and I don't hide anything. I don't hide my friends list. I don't hide certain things. I don't feel that I need to. But now, it's a different story. This woman, again, is trying to steal not only the friends list, because these people don't know who this woman is, and also she claims to, again, do some of the things that I know she cannot do, which is hilarious. And when I ask, well, what is your credulous? What is your accreditation? Where did you get this from? Can't answer it. You know what she said? Well, I never reveal my source. Really? Even people who write books have a bibliography. Even people who create a thesis, they have to cite their sources. They have to cite where they got this from. I've made it very clear of where I got my teachings from, who the human teachers are, as well as the gods. And that is what has kept me solvently sound, because I am transparent about those things. So if I am asking you where you got this from and you're not able to tell me, that leads me to believe that you have stolen it. And I know that you stole it from me, but I just wanted to test your honesty and see if you were going to, as they say in Staten Island, keep it real. And I know exactly what I needed to know from that conversation. So I've grown a little annoyed with people coming to my seminars and opening up shop, because here's the thing. You're not truly able to give a sound spiritual education when you yourself do not possess it. How can you teach something that you have not mastered? Again, what this analogy is, and I was speaking to one of my students, Darius Wigfall, yesterday, because he inboxed me and he said, True Master Gano, I would like to know more about this person, because they know the names, right? And I called him up and we had a nice conversation. And I heard something come out of my mouth. And I said, hey, I'm going to use that, because, again, when I consult people and I speak to people, one of the things that Lord Tarver did, and this is before I knew who he was, and I've been very transparent about how this happened. He put a quantum processor inside of my heart brain that allows me to answer questions that I do not know the answers to. I don't take credit for any of the things that the gods do for Galighticus. I give the credit where it belongs. See that? So, what I said to Darius during our conversation yesterday, I said that the analogy of what's going on now is that if you look at someone with a trombone case and they're walking down the block, you're automatically going to think, oh, they play the trombone. Must be pretty good. They must be on their way to practice at a jam or something. That's what the neophyte will think, right? And someone who thinks a little deeper about that might not have that same sentiment. Just because you're walking around with a trombone case does not make you a trombone player. In order to develop the ability to play a trombone, which doesn't have discernible notes, you have to manipulate the actual, I don't know what they call that, in order to get the note. And you have to be able to do that every single time. What's happening with Galighticus, unfortunately, that there are quite a few people that are walking around with a case, and people are mistakenly thinking that they are able to play the notes, or that they have mastery over the instrument that they are pontificating that they have, because they're walking around with a certain presentation, right? And if you test these people and you say, okay, well, can you show me your divinity? Can you prove it to me? Can you illustrate who you are? They won't be able to do it outside of some of the spells that they sell, or some of the other things that they may have pirated from other people. One of the things that I've done, and I want to give a very clear reason why I do as much as I can to demonstrate my connection to the spiritual world, is because, and I'm going to use the Golden Chariot commercial. It's about 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Check it out. In that commercial, you will see me dematerialize, which means to vanish or disappear. You will see me call lightning 5 different times. Snap my fingers, wave my hands. Now, there are some people that automatically say, oh, that's just camera magic, or it's a special effect. You can't do that. And how is it that I am able to point my finger and then lightning appear, or snap my fingers? And how am I able to do that when the sky is this wide? How would I be able to do that 5 times and share it with people and actually time it and say, so you thought this was a fluke, huh? And then boom, the lightning appears in a safe distance behind me. How do I create that? How is it possible that I'm able to fraudulently do that if I do not, or I am not who I say that I am, number one? I do this as an illustration. There's another part in the commercial where I do this and you see leaves beginning to fall. If you look at the entirety of that video, we weren't able to capture it in the commercial, but again, it's mastery over the elements. It's not something that I do to brag. It's something that I do to illustrate that I'm showing clearly and in a safe manner exactly who I am, what I know how to do, so that you have the confidence to believe the claims and the traffic of what we're doing. You understand that? And that video was filled with the eye of Ra showing up on my right eye. My eye turns completely golden except for the black part. I can't make this stuff up. It's not something that's going to happen if I was not who I say that I am. There's some people, well, you don't need to say that, True Master Gano. People know that. No. I need to make it idiotically clear. Just the eye of Ra showing up on my right eye. No one else that I know who claims to be even Kemetic can show you the eye of Ra showing up on their eye. What does that mean? But yet I put it in a commercial and people still don't know what it is that they're looking at. So I had to put an arrow that says the eye of Ra right there. It's in the Galighticus Golden Chariot commercial. You have a long commercial and a short one. In that same video, you can see me pixelating out of form. You can see my hands lighting up. You can see lots of other things. So the only reason that I showed that in the video, because I can't just say, I can teach you how to turn your body into light. I can't really say that openly. The seminar, the Golden Chariot, represents the ability to be able to learn how to do just that. There is nobody that can teach you how to do that unless it is an avatar or someone who has been chosen by the divine world, not the spiritual world, but the divine world. I need to make that clear, okay? So these people who are biting, imitating, and giving a cheap representation or trying to be Galighticus, it's laughable. It's preposterous. It's not good character. And continuing to do so, you will create your own discord. And I need to do nothing except observe and inform my people who actually are and deserve to know the truth about what else is out there and how people are creating disinformation, misinformation. And I need to highlight that, okay? So another thing, if you have to go to the Galighticus website and pattern your stuff and hustle other people with a cheap imitation of something that doesn't have the credulous, how much know-how do you have? How much ingenuity or creativity do you really have? If you have to bite off of someone else's movement to create your own database or your own money, you'd be better off just getting a job, because at least by having a job, you will not be creating the negative backlash and the karmic strikes that will soon visit you. You won't be creating that for yourself. And Rosina and I, Chain of Command Rosina and I, had a conversation earlier. And she also mentioned something that was very, very interesting. She says, Sri Master Gano, these people, they change their name all the time. All of these people that I've talked about, four in particular, the couple that came to Hypernatural Magic, right? The other woman that came to the Vegas Star System, which is the big picture finale, and created a ridiculous spectacle out of herself. And this latest person that I talked that has at least, she has 3 different profiles under different names and is seeking to get as many people from the Galighticus audience to follow her. And that's fine if they choose to do that. They keep changing their name. They have these different names. And what that does, and what Rosina pointed out, is that, when you change your name, it changes your life path number. It changes the tonality and the vibration of who you are. And it also constantly resets what it is that you're able to put in motion just by doing that. How serious are you about who you are when you have to keep changing your identity? How are you in a position to lead people if you don't even know who you are? You keep changing your name. It's a problematic thing for you. Sri Master Gano Grills, I've only added to my name. I've never changed my name. Galighticus has always been Galighticus. The only thing that's been added to my name is the Sri first, and then the Master. And I gave very clear reasons as to why that was done. And there also might be more things added onto the name. Who knows? But for right now, it is Sri Master Gano Grills. So if you keep changing your name, you're changing the identification and the locality of what it is that you're able to offer, and it gives mixed signals. And it also shows that you are confused, and that if you don't even know who you are, how can you help illuminate the path for someone else? That's just common sense. It's ridiculous. And, there are people, unfortunately, that can't afford to come to a Galighticus seminar, and I understand that. And what that means is that until you get to that point, you shouldn't cheapen your spiritual education because you don't want to afford yourself to do better. The reality is, no one has an excuse. We have, at one time, we produced over 400 videos that are for free. We have over 200 of them now that are for free. Educate yourself. This is the reason why I do these videos on a regular basis, because I realize that there are well-meaning people that deserve to have somewhat of a spiritual education, and I will give it freely. I don't have a problem with that. This is the reason why I do videos. I don't charge people for this stuff. And I'm not going to give an entire seminar, but I will give and answer questions as much as I can. I share a lot of things freely on Facebook and Instagram, things that will help people. So there's no reason for you to steal from anything that pertains to Galighticus, because what you're doing is, the moment you have the motivation or the stupidity to take something, try to remix it, repackage it, resell it, or do something that you were inspired to do without the proper instruction, you're going to hit a brick wall. And that's what's going to happen. So this brings me to my next point. I realize that People that come to my seminars, they're inspired. That's what the seminars are designed to do. I realize that people want to have their own platform, and that's great. I think everyone, if you want to be a speaker or you want to help people, you should do that, but not before you have your own level of experience and mastery to offer to your own audience. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put together a seminar in 2020. It's right around the corner. And I'm going to create a seminar that will teach people how to be a spiritual advisor. If you guys want that, and I need to see an indicator of that, I will teach you how to read people, how to divine, and I don't mean just with a pendulum. I will teach you how to, and my students are going to be the first people that will begin to not take my place. And I've said this before. My students will be the very first wave of spiritual advisors that I put into position, again, because I will be retiring from doing consultations. I've had enough of it. It's draining. It's ridiculous. There are people that need to get their feet wet and pay some dues, and they need to go through the ranks of being a spiritual advisor. I'm going to give them hours and hours of training videos and phone calls of people that I've gotten the permission to share their consultation. And I'm going to point out some things. This is how you read this. This is how you diagnose that. These are the tools that you would use to address this. I'm going to teach people exactly how to do that, because I think the world needs more spiritual direction, and it needs to happen from a credible source, not a fractal stolen decision to come to a Galighticus seminar and all of a sudden you're a spiritual advisor and you don't have a pot to piss in. Excuse my language, I'm just saying, it's hilarious. Okay? So if you guys want me to do that, I will put that seminar together, and you guys will learn a great deal about how to do this the right way. This person, the last person that I was talking about, has some kind of presentation that they do, and she teaches people how to create a business from the Galighticus model. It's absurd. This is why all of these people are popping up, selling, cheap conjuring spell or a love potion or some kind of haphazard, quick band-aid solution to something that is a part of a larger problem. If somebody slices you and you have 150 stitches, that gash that you have, and you put a band-aid on it, it's not going to cure the problem. You're going to have to get some medical attention. You're going to have to get some stitching done. And what I'm seeing is that, again, people have bigger problems that a spell or some kind of quick reading will not solve. This is the reason why we have created deeper services to deal with deeper issues, of which there are many. Okay? So, again, if you guys really want that seminar, I don't know what I'm going to call it, but it will be a seminar that I will invite everyone to come to that wants to be a spiritual advisor and a true light bearer, and someone who can bring change to their family, their arena. And it will be done under the umbrella of Galighticus. It will be done with the proper accreditation, and it will have my signature on it, and it will also have a certain thing of bylaws that people will have to abide by, because there needs to be a unanimity or a uniformity with the way in which people need to do this, because there are a lot of people that are doing things in a very sloppy manner. Okay? So that's something that I will make available on the next 2020 calendar, and it will be amazing. All right. So did I address that? I'll say it again. I'm going to call for loyalty at this point. All of you who are truly Galighticans, I'm going to circulate that list. I've already done it with a couple of names, but we have a private stream that all of the students are connected to on Facebook. And you guys are about to get, at some point tomorrow, the complete list of people that I want you to separate from them, and I want you to block them on all medias, because they are doing things that I don't want to be associated with. I don't want you to have been stolen from in terms of your energy, or in terms of because you were selected from my friends list. I don't condone that. And I expect all of the students, initiates, and people who are true Galighticans to comply with that. Further down the line, I may demand it. But for now, I'm simply asking for it. And the reason that I'm asking for it, and I heard Ricky Smiley, and I'm citing my source, right? And I'm going to add a little bit of my own to it. Ricky Smiley did a video the other day, and one of my really close friends sent it to me, and I looked at it. Now, he gave an analogy about a plant. And he said that if a leaf turns yellow, it is in a stage of dying. Anyone that has a green thumb knows that they have to pluck the yellow leaf, because all of the energy of the entire plant will go towards, they will do their best to try to get that leaf back online. I will not let Galighticus become spoiled, encumbered, or infected by one rogue student or someone or someones who have come to a seminar and seeks to cause discord. I will pluck you off and dismiss you and send you on your way with a salute, a handshake, and a sarate. I've had to do that for quite a few people, because we run across some crazy people. But I've done it silently. And I'm making it semi-public, but I'm not mentioning any names. There have been quite a few people that I've had to excuse from Galighticus by saying, you are no longer allowed to come to our seminars. I don't really care to be connected with you or my movement. Good luck, though, and take care. But now, I need to publicly say that there are certain people, and we get at least one or two people per seminar that sit in there that are agents of darkness, or seek to cause discord. We had one at the last AGA seminar, and I almost lost my temper with this guy in the back who was sitting in the corner. Some of my students came up to me and they said, Master Gano, I don't like that guy. I don't like his energy. He's not right. I said, I know. And he sought to spin some kind of bizarre energy into the seminar. And I called him out. And it was a very uncomfortable silence for a minute in that seminar. And then I apologized for whatever energy may have been pulsating from me at the time. But this young man, he was completely unaware of how he comes across. He was walking around and thank you, Lady Prosperity. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Lady Prosperity says, you handled it perfectly. Thank you. I wanted to dismiss him, but I said, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to take a break. I took him to the side and I said, young man, you're not aware of how you come across. You look at everybody like they owe you money. You have this nasty thing about you that exudes from you. He was a 5%er. I'm not even going to get into that. But his name was Great Divine Eternal Master, something like that. And I said, And I asked him, I said, what's your name? And he said something like that. And I said, you're not ready for that title, young man. You need to go back to your government name. Because it's that name or that title that you've gotten from the 5% doctrine that is confusing you into looking at everyone else as if they are an ant. And they're not. You're 20 something years old. You know nothing. Get rid of that. It's not serving you well. And then he went on to say, oh, everybody hates me. And the moment he shifted into victim, I said, I got to go now. I excused him. I allowed him to stay because he was about to be shown the door, given a partial refund. But, this brings me to my next point. We reserve the right to turn people away, and we've never really had to do that. And if someone is acting bizarre or they're being disrespectful to anyone in my audience or people feel uncomfortable, we will show you the door. And we cannot have that in our arena. So what we're doing, and this goes back to the analogy about the plant, is that like the plant, we're not going to leak energy trying to curtail or sacrifice our energy trying to straighten out one rogue person. We're not going to do that because we have too much to do in the world, and we're going to preserve ourselves, and we're going to move forward in a refined manner. We're not going to engage with lower, foolish behavior like some of these other people who have taken from Galighticus and tried to imitate, emulate, and mimic what it is that we do. I also would warn people, do not get your cords cut or your third eye activated, allegedly, by someone who doesn't have the power to do it, that cannot show you what their power is or who they are. Test people. Who is your divinity? Who are you that you wield this power? Where does it come from? Can you demonstrate it? Can you show me some of your testimonies? Post your testimonies. Begin to test that spirit, like the mythology of Jesus says. Because I've given you all of the proof that you need, require, want, and desire. Not only from my mouth, but from the mouths of hundreds, if not thousands, of other people. And I don't want to have to keep wearing that on my sleeve because I don't think it's necessary, only but to edify. I'm going to let you guys take over doing that so that I can concentrate on getting these books up, creating these other seminars that you guys need to have, and getting you guys where you need to be spiritually, if that makes sense, right? So what we're doing at this time, we're cutting ourselves away from indiscriminate charlatans. People who have come to a Galighticus seminar and have not been trained, they're not students or they don't have my ashe. I don't want to be associated with the sloppy manner in which they pontificate, lie, confuse, beguile, or instigate negativity. I don't want to be associated with that. I don't want Galighticus to be synonymous with that, right? And that's why it's important for me to call for loyalty at this point. Now, if you're watching this video and you don't have a Facebook group, create one. Join the Galighticus group on Facebook. And if you really want to know who these people are and you want the list, and I can look at you and identify you as someone that I know, that I've seen, or you could say, hey, Sri Master, I've been to this amount of seminars. This is who I am. I'd like to have the list of those people because I don't want to be connected. We will furnish it to you, okay? You can go to questions at Galighticus.com. Is that right, Rosina? Let me know. And we will evaluate who you are and send it to you. People who are connected to me, thank you, Rara. People who are connected to my personal group or to the Facebook group, you can inbox me or you can inbox Rosina and you can inquire about that list of people. And we are going to be separating, unfriending, and blocking these people. Not because I seek to have control over what grown people do. I don't care about that. But I don't think that people should be connected to agents of darkness or people who are parading and are charlatans. Something wrong with that. There was an energetic drain that happens because of that. There are people that are being chased and surrounded by demons, and they're out there and they've been to a Galighticus seminar and they still want to open up shop, and that's ridiculous. If you're on a boat and you're selling analogies, I can create them all day long. But this is the last one, okay? Because I know I've made the point, but it just came into my head. If you have a ferry boat and people are trying to get to the other side, and you have the service of getting people to the other side, but you clearly see that that boat has a hole in it and it's sinking, why would you get on that boat? Why would you get on a boat if the driver is drunk, intoxicated? Why would you get in a car knowing that someone has a gun in the trunk? Or the car is not registered or insured. Some of you guys get into cars with people and you don't ask, hey man, do you have anything in here that you shouldn't have? Is this car registered? Is it insured? Some people don't even think to ask that before they take a ride with their friends somewhere, and then they get pulled over and you might have to go to jail or something like that. People don't dot the I's and cross the T's even with their regular life. They're not going to be able to do it spiritually because they don't know and have the depth of common sense or even spiritual common sense to do just that. And that's why people run into trouble. All right. So, I'm going to leave this video up. This video is not coming down like a lot of the others. We're going to leave it up for a while. Share this video. And again, we didn't call any names, but those of you who are paying attention, you will know. And lastly, I want you to know that Galighticus is not just Sri Master Gano Grills. Galighticus is you. Galighticus is 144,000 people. Very few of you have awakened yet. Some of you haven't even started to see the numbers that's been around you for years, and you haven't even begun to see that yet. Some of you are still sleeping, but that's okay, because when you wake up, we will be here. Galighticus is chain of command. Galighticus is the dream team, the officers, studentship program, initiate program, Baldr, Chronos, the attendees to all of the seminars, all of you who watch the videos. You are Galighticus, and you do not deserve to be infected or confused about anything that pertains to your evolution. Neither should you be associated with a free radical of the apple that you are. If you're an apple and you have brown, which is a free radical, which is an oxidized area that causes necrosis, the brown begins to spread and kill the integrity of the body of the apple. You don't deserve that. By being affiliated with certain connections, you will be creating that dynamic somewhere in your consciousness. Disconnect from it. And that is my humble suggestion. All right, guys? So, I don't know when I will be doing another live. I may do another one before the Golden Chariot, but as you know, the Golden Chariot is a very serious seminar. And I'm going to begin to put all of my energy into bringing more teaching, more highlights, and more information into that seminar, and also to some of the new products that we have. It takes a lot of work. And I want to thank my chain of command. I want to thank the Dream Team, everybody on the Dream Team, and everyone. We are an entire movement of, and everyone is working really hard to make this run as smoothly as possible. And there's a lot of moving parts. So I want to thank everyone that works with us. I want to thank all of you guys for watching this video. And I hope that you will take my words in. And I want to thank all of you who are interfacing and have a desire to really wake up and be evolutionarily sound and empowered. All right, guys? I am Sri Master Gano Grills for Galighticus. And I will see you soon. Some of you I will see in the dream state. Some of you I will see in your visions. And if not, we'll see each other here or at the next seminar. Have a great night and pleasant dreams.